Five large buttocks hanging off a wall. Five large buttocks hanging off a wall. And if one large buttock should accidentally fall, there'll be four large buttocks hanging off a wall. Oh, hello. Good evening. Didn't see that. Good evening, darlings, and a very warm welcome to Thursday Night Live with me, Boaty. And I'm going to be coming indiscriminately into various of your orifices over the next 59 minutes. So, gosh, isn't that exciting? It's an enormous pleasure to be in the company of my lovely Boggs once again. It's something that I look forward to with immense and eager anticipation. Oh, I do. I really do. I really, really do. And I am never happier than when I am here in your delectable company. You really are such top of the range bowls of sugar puffs, and I love each and every one of you dearly. And I would love to squeeze and tickle you until you cry out with pleasure and wet yourself and possibly break wind like Roland the Farter, whom I mentioned on Facebook today. He was a real person, Roland the Farter, and he was given a stately home because he was an exceptionally good farter. And King Henry II liked him very much, hence giving him, a stately mansion and all of that. Now, I'm not saying that I'm in Roland the Farter's league, but after 52 years of giving it my best shot, you'd think that somebody would have given me a small static caravan in Rill. That's all I'm saying. So, good evening, Jimmy Quinn. And General Cheeseburger is well and truly on one tonight, isn't he? God, I was reading those before I started. Bloody hell, the man's on form. I'm not going to subject you to all of them. I'm sure you've all read them, but they're absolutely hilarious. Yes. Do you know, I'm really tempted to actually launch Mr. Boaty's Pottering Lube properly. I'm really, honest to God, if I had just a little bit more of too much free time and a little bit more free wine, you can bet your left-handed ass that I'd do it. I'd love to rock up to the NEC, to the Classic Car Show or something, or whatever they're called, and set up somewhere near Matt and Ian and Steph with just a bloody big stall of Mr. Boaty's Pottering Lube for all your pottering requirements. And yeah, I would like to do that very much. Actually, it's the kind of ironic thing that I always said I would do at car shows and the like. Because when you think about it, I mean, the Classic Car Show. What is it all about for YouTubers? It's all about rocking up with as much merchandise as you can and desperately trying to flog it because the stalls at the NEC at the Classic Car thing are horrendously expensive. And I should know. I had one more than once, a big one. Obviously, we were only down the road from the NEC. We were the UK's biggest classic and sports car showrooms. Of course, we had to have a stand there, didn't we? And it's not cheap, I can tell you that. Which is and the NEC don't particularly well. You'd have to be really big for the NEC to kind of look after you and give you preferential prices, which is probably why people end up sharing a stand. It really is expensive, and you've got to make that pay for you somehow if you're a YouTuber, and that means flogging loads of dodgy merch. And I just like to take the piss out of all that by turning up just with a absolute industrial shed load of pottering lube. And give out some free Momo to put people in the mood because Momo is, of course, an aphrodisiac. Cheers, darlings. Your very good health. Mm. Oh, 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 God. I needed that. Um, right. We obviously are ramping up to, sorry to use the C word, but we are obviously ramping up towards Christmas because we were busy again tonight. Oh, gosh, weren't we just? Weren't we just? But anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about you for a while. So, talk to me. Tell me how your day's been. What did you have for lunch? What did you have for dinner? Has anything exciting happened to you today? Oh, here's a good feature. What criminal offences have you committed today? I bet all of you have committed at least one. I bet you, you will. You all will have. You'll have broken the speed limit, or you'll have shoplifted something, or so. There you go. That's feature number one. Oh, cheeseburger. God, you're on form tonight. Salutations, Admirable Boaty, says Pingu, who is with us, as is Jimmy Quinn. Good evening to you both. Do you happen to know Mr. Robert Genders? No, is the short answer to that, as far as I'm aware. I mean, I'm pretty lousy with names, so I could know somebody called Bob Genders, Robert Genders, Robbie, Bobby. But to the best of my nationalised spolage, I'm not aware of knowing anybody by that name. Why do you ask, Pinger? Barry's here. Good evening, all, and that's right there, Jason. Good evening to you, Barry. God, cheeseburger's still going. Oh, hello. Oh, have you not? No, well, of course, John, you're accepted. Yeah, obviously you're recuperating at home, so you won't have been out to break the law. Quite right. But you might have watched television without a license. You know, if we put the effort in, darlings, even when we're housebound, we can still be criminal minds. Barry will hopefully be doing a live stream a week on Saturday. Well, that's plenty of notice. It won't be cars, but hopefully it'll be fine. I'm sure it will. I'm sure it'll be splendid. I've seen you on camera, and you're very good. I watched your Callan thing. I thought it was excellent. So John is here with us. Jimmy again. Oh, hello, Simone's here, nice and early. Good evening, Simone. How are you? Oh dear, John's getting bad headaches. Bless him. Bosh, Wallop, Ask Shakes to you, Simone. Hello, Joe's here. Cars with JC, a splendid channel. You should check it out. You should watch a video. You should subscribe. You will make him very happy. Neil is also here, aka, of course, the Gibbanator. And Neil is one of two people who will be going to the seaside with me on the 4th of December. And if you would like to join us for a road trip to the seaside and a drunken night in a cheap hotel in a cheap, faded holiday resort, you'd be more than welcome. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Oh, I hope we go to the Chinese restaurant called the Laughing Buddha. I haven't been to a Chinese restaurant for ages. And no doubt there will be some live stream activity from said cheap hotel in said cheap holiday resort. Now, what was Neil saying? Here we are. Hope we've all had a productive day. That's kind. Now, Neil has today found the issues with Project Bruce, his MG ZT 160 1.8 turbo. Bruce needs a new set of coil packs and leads and a boost pressure sensor, and he will be fighting fit, and he's going to need to be if he's going to try and keep up with the mighty Stigbert von Thundercock. Oh, God, what a raving beast of a car he is. And Neil goes on to say, also went karting for our work's Christmas do and came fourth. Also may have broken someone's finger in a crash on the hairpin. Well done, Neil. Well, you'll have the same problem as me, mate, when it comes to karting. You're too much of a unit, aren't you? No matter how good you are, there'll be some whippet who weighs 6 stone less than us, you know, because they weigh bloody 7 stone wringing wet, and they'll beat us because, you know, carts are limited power, and weight plays a pivotal role in kart racing. You can, of course, just be like drive like a suicidal lunatic and hope that everybody gets out of your way because they're just terrified. Barry says, Boaty. No, I'm not reading that one out. Oh, Cheeseburger's on the delayed train home. That happened last time you were out and about Cheeseburger, didn't it? Hello, Mr. Podge, says Stephen S. Paul. I'd have loved to have gone to the NEC, says Joe. It looked brilliant. Definitely on the list for next year. Well, each to their own. I watched a bit of Mr. Joseph Lloyd's live stream with Mr. Coleman, and he was berating and bemoaning the fact that a pork pie was £5 and he didn't have one. Because as he rightly pointed out, you can buy a lot of other things with £5 rather than an overpriced pork pie at the NEC. Good evening, all, says Tricia Alderman. And a jolly good evening to you, Tricia. Thank you for joining us. Simone refuses... Exactly, John. Simone refuses to entertain the NEC again. They refuse cash. God, do they? Blimey. NEC, sponsored by the Pottering Lube. Yeah, why not? Oh, we're into the father, Ted. Thank you, Barry. There's a big pile of boxes in the middle of the road there, Ted. That was, which episode was that? What was it called? I think it was just called Speed. That was Pat Mustard, wasn't it? That was the Pat Mustard episode. Pat was just wondering if he could put his massive tool in my box further. Yeah, that was it. That was it. And the milk float, and he couldn't go below 20 miles an hour or whatever it was. God, is this true, Neil? MG X Power did condoms at some point. My old gaffer had them in his merch drawer at work. Good Lord. Did someone say free Momo, says Andrew? Good evening, Boaty and everyone. Good evening to you. There you are. Barry is confessing to his criminal activity today. I sped on the way to work. There you go. Are you on the wine, asks Adam Flynn. Of course. It is past 11 o'clock, otherwise known as wine o'clock. So quite naturally, I'm enjoying a little snifter. Bloody well earned it is as well. Worked hard tonight. Simone has done nout today. James Wilson is 22 and he finds cashless a bit silly. Like, for example, at the petrol station, he says, better to pay with notes, as my granddad's youngest sister, so that would be your great aunt, who he didn't talk to a lot, she got scammed with her card there. Oh, dear me. Good evening, all, says Mark Bad Books. Joe says, thanks, Jason. That's for the shout out on his channel. I need to get some videos out. Been so busy with revising for my PCV test. Well, I'll tell you what, Joe, here's a suggestion. Now, many of us and many, many other people are probably frustrated bus drivers. And I'm sure they would be fascinated by knowing what's involved in taking a PCV test. So why don't you make videos about revising for your PCV test? The fact that you're talking about it will help you get it into your old noggin. And I think it would make really interesting content. Genuinely, it's certainly something that I would watch with interest. And I bet lots of other people would too. And, it's motoring related. It's about you and it's your channel. Why not do that? I would if I were you. James says, so all the young people don't agree with cashless is what I'm trying to get at. And I'm sure that's true. That's true. I mean, I'm old school. I like cash. When I went to buy Stigbert, I turned up with a wad of notes and he looked at me as if I was gone out, Oh, I thought you'd be paying by bank transfer. No, old school. Bosh, wad of notes. I like cash. I like cash very much. I like having cash. It gives me a sense of security knowing I've got a bit of cash salted away in the house. Not like the old days, of course, when when I'd have a reasonable amount of money salted about. Now we're talking about £7.30, something like that. But it still gives me a sense of security. And talking about cash, I won't be having a yard day on Monday because Mustard is off to a family occasion, a wedding, I believe it is, down in Dorset. So I thought on Monday, it's high time that we all went to the casino. So Monday night, I'm going to go to the casino, the Grosvenor Casino on the Duchess Road, I think it is, in Sheffield, if anybody fancies turning up and meeting me for a drink. So there you go, that's going to happen. And James says, good evening, how is everyone? We're all okay, I think, James. Hope you're well too. Pingu says, Robert. Robert bought, okay, this is interesting. Pingu says, Robert bought an engine from me yesterday and said he was a professional cyclist from your era. So I just wondered if you knew him. P.S. Many speed limits breached today in 5 different rovers. Good man, well done. What was his name? Robert. Where's your comment gone? Robert Genders. No, I'm going to Google it. Well, it's bringing up a load of stuff about Bob Miller, who is, of course, now Philippa York, but he was Robert Miller when back in the day, back in our day. But yeah, now he's Pippa. Lovely lady, and his partner is lovely too. The lovely Linda Ann, bless her. Nice people, actually. Let's have a look. Something's coming up under British Cycling. Robert Genders, current club Beauvale Cycling Club 2015, year-end club Beauvale CC 2010. And he's got some points. Or he had some points in that year. He got some points in the John Hinksman Memorial Road Race, Mallory Park. And he got 42 points. Oh, he won the John Hinksman. Oh, and this was right. Apparently, he was a road and track rider in 1998. Gosh. Okay. No. Interesting. No, I don't remember him at all. I don't even recognise the name Pingu, to be honest. So I hope he's not offended. Did he know me? Out of interest. I always find it quite bizarre when people know me from way back in the day, because that was, I think of it as an entirely different life, to be honest. The other stuff, the singing, the car dealership, the entertainment agency, all of that feels like this life, albeit a long time ago. But the cycling, that really does seem like a different life. And in a way it was, because it was a different name as well, but let's not go into that. I've got to find where I got to now. Where did I get to? We did that. That's where I got to. Cashless, says Simone, means mass control tracking of everything you spend. Yeah, well, there's some truth in that, isn't there? Well, there's a lot of truth in that. Mark Passad says, evening, Boaty, and hello, everyone. My favourite Chinese dish? I love crispy duck pancakes. Oh, there you go. Feature number 3. What is your favourite Chinese dish? Mine would be, I'm going to surprise you here. I've mentioned before, Chinese madam made these amazing cold noodles. I mean, they were terrifyingly hot. And you know me, I eat very spicy food day in and day out. But these were terrifyingly hot. But my God, they were gorgeous. I mean, it was worth being ruthlessly podgered against my will on a daily basis just to get me gob around those. They were tremendous. Oh, I wish I'd learned how to make them. I haven't got a clue how to make them, and I don't really know what to Google to find out. She just called them cold noodles. Apparently, it's like a street dish from her part of China. Maybe I need to get into a relationship with another Chinese woman to find out. James says, Joe, I love that 25 you've got. It has exactly the same alloys as my first car had. Old English white too. Rarer colour, I think, because it was a pre-2002 colour. My first 25 was a dark blue with the exact same alloys as yours has. Oh, jolly good. Cheeseburger says Simone and... Oh, right, controversial. We're getting into an argument here. Cheeseburger says Simone and who and how tracks you? Big brother nonsense. Gosh, well, is it? I mean, your spending does get tracked, doesn't it? I mean, that's that's why we all have loyalty cards for our favorite thing. It means that those businesses can keep track of exactly what we buy. So presumably somebody's keeping track. John's weighing in with some father take quotes. Drink girls feck. Gobshite. Oh dear. Oh, Andrew's got to go back to work. Have a fantastic night, everyone. Have a good day at work, Andrew. I enjoyed your argument with mustard, says Simone. Very funny indeed. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was really annoying, actually. I think the worm decided to turn. It's normally me talking nonsense on our little trips to the Milkston Road, and he obviously decided to get his own back. And afterwards, I thought of many convincing arguments as to why the ZT is the better car. And other people have come up with them in comments. But yeah, I was a bit flabbergasted at the time, but it was good fun. I've watched it back, and it is pretty funny. Somebody picked out 3 highlights. I think it was. I think it was in the. I think it was in the comments on Mustard's video, not on mine, and they picked out the 3 funniest things as being. Oh God, let me try and remember now. I am poor, but I have the heart of a rich man. It's the that's the chicken Kiev of hatchbacks. And what was the mustard one? It's all standard apart from the broken bits or the damage or something. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Cash is king, says Neil. If you don't use it, we will lose it. Diddly do, diddly do. Most people with cash, says Cheeseburger, haven't paid tax on it. Yeah, well, that's the point, isn't it? That's why we like it, Cheeseburger. Cash is necessary. In my line of work, you have to have it, says Stephen S. Paul. Simone needs to give Connie a wash tomorrow because she is filthy. Now, here's a little something to discuss, darlings. Now, as you know, I'm poor, and I've been even poorer than I am now. And I had a letter. I won't show it to you, but I had 2 bits of mail today. Apart from the junk mail, I had 2 bits of mail. And one is from a debt collection company, and they are chasing a historic debt from quite a while ago with a credit card company, Capital One. And they are chasing a certain amount of money that I allegedly owe, and I probably do. I think this goes way back. I think it goes back, well, it must go back to around the time of the divorce or just after the divorce, um, when financially things ran a little bit away with me, as they can do. But the point is, so that was one letter that I received today from a debt, whatever they're called, company, chasing this debt, and the debt is for Capital One. The other piece of the other bit of mail that I had today was from a credit card company saying you have been pre-approved for this credit card. All you need to do is visit this website address, type in this code, and you are 100% accepted. You get this credit limit, blah, 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 blah. Guess the company, darlings. That's right, Capital One. They don't learn, do they? They don't bloody learn. Dear, oh dear. I'm tempted to take it just to do them for a few quid again to teach my lesson. But there you go. I thought that was kind of quite ironic well, I thought that was genuinely ironic. Unlike all of the things that Alanis Morissette thought were ironic, which weren't ironic at all. They were just coincidental or tragic or happenstance, but they weren't really ironic in the true sense of the word. And it's quite ironic that she misunderstood the meaning of ironic. And when she discovered the actual meaning of the word ironic, I mean, she is Canadian, so we have to make allowances. English not being the first language. Same thing for Americans. I mean, they make a jolly good fist of using English. They have to change some words that are too difficult for them. Aluminium, for example, is beyond them, and that becomes aluminum. But on the whole, they do a reasonably good job, and we have to just bear with them a little bit. And when Alanis Morissette found out the actual meaning of the word, she realised that, ironically, her song "Ironic" made no sense, and she tried to have it pulled. And the record company said, "No, bugger off. We're earning money from this. Live with it. You made a mistake. You made your bed. Now sleep in it." And I would have liked to have slept in that bed with her. I really would. And depending on what time of night it was, then either we would have there would have been some hot lubed up pottering action, or we would have just cuddled each other and got on with it in the morning, preferably with breakfast in bed. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Breakfast in bed. Now, if she'd have done a song about that, somebody did do a song about breakfast in bed. Who was it? UB40 and Chrissy Hind. That was it. And Chrissy Hind was somebody else that I wouldn't mind having breakfast in bed with. Although I did find out, I think she's one of those really militant vegans or vegetarians or something. So probably not the kind of girl who would enjoy a good, healthy bacon sandwich with, and this is important, an artistic drizzle of HP sauce from a glass bottle, none of this plastic squeezy crap, and a light dusting of white pepper. And that is the only correct thing to have with a bacon sandwich. You might like tomato ketchup, but you can fuck off. You might be a complete weirdo who really needs locking up and put mayonnaise on it. But, that's your own perversion. Keep it well away from the rest of us. The correct dressing for a bacon sandwich, and the bacon must be crispy, the bread must be fresh, and it must come from an unsliced loaf. That's very important. And the correct dressing for it is an artistic drizzle of HP sauce from a glass bottle and a light dusting of ground white pepper. You might think I'm wrong, but you're wrong. Anything other than that, and the bacon sandwich is wrong. And I really fancy one now. Well, I don't fancy one now. I fancy one in the morning. I can't remember when I last had a bacon sandwich. Now, as you will see from today's daily diary, my little tabletop oven that I've had for about, God knows how long I've had it, might be 15 years. I originally had it in the cottage in Wales, because the cottage in Wales, I had a Ray-Ban. And if you don't know what a Ray-Ban is, it's a more elite version of an Aga. In other words, a massive, huge coal-fired range that you feed with coal, it makes fire. It has a chimbley, and it heats up your hot water. It provides you central heating, so it heats up all of the radiators, and it is your cooker. But you don't always have the thing going, especially in summer months. So I equipped the cottage in Wales with a little tabletop oven, so that I didn't have to use the Ray-Ban. I didn't have to bank the Ray-Ban up in the height of summer when I wanted to bake a pie or something, or some garlic bread. I do like garlic bread, and I haven't had any for about 2 years. And then when I sold the cottage in Wales, it went to the marital home in Chesterfield. And at the marital home in Chesterfield, I had something called Boaty's Hub. And Boaty's Hub was a double garage, which I had converted into a man cave. So I had all the garage doors removed. I had it all bricked up, windows put in, a proper door put in. I'm so sorry. I had a loft conversion thing because it was it had a kind of loft. So I had the loft all wooded off and a proper floor put in and a staircase up to it. And that was my man cave, and it was fabulous. And I had my own little kitchen in there. I had every gadget and gizmo known to man. I had fruit machine in there, amazing sound systems, telly. Oh, I just had everything in there. I had a full workshop in there, because at that time I was making most of my living. Well, I was making my living in two ways at that point. I mean, I may or may not have been working for the NHS, but that was only pennies. I mean, you go and work as a bloody whatever I was doing, PTS or Delta Crew ambulance, then you don't earn a lot of money. Most of my income was coming from gambling, the casino. I was in the casino, going to work in the casino 5 nights a week. And the rest came from bicycles. So I would buy classic 60s, 70s, 80s top level European racing bicycles and break them down for parts and refurbish the parts and sell them to what was then the emerging collectors market in the Far East. And believe me, the Chinese and Japanese would pay fortunes for certain French and Italian equipment. And otherwise, I would buy componentry that didn't have the same value, but would have more value when actually put together as a classic bike. So I was doing two things. I was buying complete bikes, breaking them down and selling the parts. And I was buying parts, refurbing them, putting them together and building bicycles. And I was also doing showpieces. I was rebuilding very important bikes that are still on display various places around the world. One of them in Australia, in Melbourne, I think it was, so possibly near some of you actually watching this. And the last time I checked, the bike that I built was still on display there. It was one of the winning bikes from the 1990 World Time Trial Championship, World Team Time Trial Championship. It was won by Italy. And that makes it kind of important a little bit. But what's really important is that it was a Colnago made by Ernesto Colnago, and it was a Carbitubo, carbon fiber, low profile, which makes it a bit more important. But what made it incredibly important was that it was one of only 6 built with a 24-inch front wheel. What we used to call funny bikes in the early 80s. and they completely went out of fashion, these ultra low profile 24-inch front wheel. But they figured out that by using a 24-inch front wheel in a team time trial formation, you could ride closer together and achieve more aerodynamic efficiency as a four-man team. So the Italians did this, and Colnago built these special bikes. And I bought the frame from a little bike shop somewhere in the south of Italy. I used to just travel around Europe, going to bike shops and wholesalers asking, what have you got in the back room from 20 years ago? Let me know what you've got and I'll buy it all. I did that for about 8-9 years, made really, really good money at it. But obviously it was a finite resource. Once it had all gone, it had all gone. And after I started doing it, a couple of other people started doing it. And before too long, everything got sort of hoovered up. But having bought the frame, I sourced period componentry, the correct stuff, and I rebuilt the bike exactly as it was. And sold it to a boutique cycle shop in Australia. I also sold them Malcolm Elliott's team bike from the I think it was the 1988 Vuelta de España, when he won the points jersey, which was the blue jersey in the Vuelta, wasn't it? And funnily enough, I bought that from Australia because he sold it to a shop in Australia when he was either doing the tour down under or just chilling out and training down there. Brought it back to the UK, rebuilt it, and then ended up flogging it to Australia. So there you go. Why am I talking about all of that? Oh yeah, because I had a workshop in Boaty's hub, didn't I? I remember what I was talking about now. Hold on. And amazingly, despite the fact that you all know me as being incredibly mechanical incompetent, which is absolutely true, when it comes to bicycle mechanics, I am good. I'm an expert frame builder, I'm an expert wheel builder, or at least I was, and I'm a very expert mechanic. It's just that was familiarity breeding that, because obviously I've been working on and with bikes since I could walk. It's just never transferred to any other kind of mechanicking, like changing a light bulb in the house, putting a shelf up, or God forbid, trying to do something like changing a coil pack in an MGZT. But going back to the point, my little mini oven was in Boaty's hub. And then after the divorce, it came with me to Farcorf. And then it came from Farcorf here to Windy Bum. And up until today, it's been doing sterling service in Windy Bum. It's over there. You've all seen it. It's been on videos. It's old, it's knackered, it's filthy, but it's still been working. And today, it kind of stopped working because it stopped making a noise. And I've investigated it. And I think what stopped working is the fan element. The heating elements are still working. But the reason that the noise had stopped was because it's got a fan oven setting, and now the fan isn't working. So it kind of still works, but it kind of doesn't. Now, I have got a proper oven, oven and hob thing, and it's just over there again, you've all seen it. But the thing is, I've never used the oven part of it. I use the hob all the time. I use it on a daily basis. The oven I've never used because I've always used the little tabletop one. Maybe I will start to use it now. Maybe I'll be forced to start to use it now. And the point is, and this is what I've been trying to get to, talking about bacon sandwiches, because the little oven thing hasn't got a really very functional grill. I don't eat things that you need to grill. I haven't grilled anything for over 10 years. And that's why I don't habitually or even occasionally have bacon sandwiches. But if I'm going to have to start using the big oven, I've got no idea how to use it, by the way. But I'm sure I can find out. But the point is, that's a proper oven. You know, it's an oven, it's a fan oven, and it's got a grill. I've got a grill pan and everything. So if I start using that, that means that I've got access to a grill. And that means that I could have bacon sandwiches now and then, whenever I fancy it. And I fancy one tomorrow morning. I mean, it's a bit late to sort it out now. But wouldn't it be a wonderful thing as a treat once a week or something like that to have a beautiful, fresh artisan loaf? And to take your bread knife, and everybody should have a bread knife, and saw off a couple of lovely big doorsteps, and then grill some really good smoked bacon until it's nice and crispy. And then, oh, are we going to put some butter on it? Shall we put some butter on it? Maybe. Butter is optional. Would I put butter on it? Oh, I think I might, you know, as a little bit of indulgence. Big old thick doorstep of fresh bread, bit of butter would be nice, wouldn't it? And then lashings of beautiful crispy bacon, and then that artistic drizzle of HP sauce from a glass bottle, mind you, and then just a light dusting of ground white pepper. What a fabulous thing that would be. And now I don't feel so bad about my little tabletop mini oven semi-breaking, because now I've got the prospect of amazing bacon sandwiches, and I could make videos about that. And if I threw my little tabletop oven away, that would free up some space. So what could I put there, replacing the little mini oven? Oh, so sorry. For reference, it's about the size of a microwave, but I've got a microwave and I don't really need another microwave. So what could I put there? Suggestions, please. Your suggestions. I might put this into Mother's daily diary. Your suggestions, please, for what appliance I would get great use out of and love having that could go where my little mini oven goes at the moment. I'm just having a look at it. And now I'm going to go and look at the main oven, and yeah, it's a nice oven. And I bet things would cook better in that proper oven than they do in the little mini tabletop one. I mean, thinking about it, I suppose I could get an air fryer. They're all the rage these days, aren't they? But the only problem with that is that, and I've seen some lovely posh-looking air fryers, but everything I've seen that's been cooked in an air fryer looks like absolute shit. So don't really want one. I could have a deep fat fryer, but then I don't particularly like that. I mean, I love stuff that's deep fried. I'm a fat man, of course I do, but I don't like the smell of oil in the cottage. So I probably wouldn't want one of those. And I can't think what, I mean, I'll tell you what I would love. I'd love a sous vide. I've always wanted a sous vide. But I think that might be a little bit too big. But your suggestions, what should I put if I get rid of my little 15-year-old tabletop mini oven, size of a microwave? What else could I put there that I would get great use out of? Now then, let's get back to some comments. I've rattled on a bit, haven't I? Right, here we are. I think this is about it. Let's rattle through these. I did that one. Oh, I did that one. I did that one. And that one. And that one. Yeah. Did that. Did that. Did that. Right, okay. Neil says that's why cash is better if you're buying something. You can make a better deal on things if you pay cash because it doesn't end up going through the books. I've got cash and you are right, cheeseburger, says Jimmy Quinn. Joe says, I've never had a Rover 45. I've always fancied one. Maybe one day. The next car on the agenda is an MG ZT, as I love the 75, but just prefer the sporty styling of the MG models. Barry Scrotter has jumped into our midst with a cry of sheer ecstasy and says, evening, and we say good evening to you. A lot of people don't like taking cash, says Joe, due to the amount of fake notes that go around. Well, there is that. You can spot a fake note a mile off now with these new notes, says Neil. A Rover 45 is a fab car, says Joe, as it's in between the styling of the 25 and the poshness of the 75. Lovely cars indeed. Hang on. Oh, right. Jolly good. Yes. Right. Splendid. Oh, something about botulism on your steering wheel. Yeah. Yeah, that was it. That was a good line, actually. It was actually one of our better arguments. Hang on. Did the Rover 75 have a Mustang engine in? Yeah, some of them did. The Rover 75 V8 had the 4.6 Mustang V8, and it was rear-wheel drive and available only in automatic. And the same engine was also available in the MG ZT260, which was available as a manual. On a Rover note today, Simone, I looked at the feedback for the body workshop I will be visiting. 5 stars across the board. Excellent. John had chicken Kiev for his tea. The Rover 25 of Marks and Spencer's convenience meat dishes. Well done, John. That's brilliant. I think the IXL was the top spec for the pre-facelift, says James. Correct. The IXL had the leather seats and the coronets. Correct. Yeah. Obviously, Sheeson is an IXL, and Sheeson has full leather and coronet alloy wheels. Oh, I know, Barry. I know about the statute of limitations on debts. Believe me, when you've gone through a divorce like mine, you learn about dealing with debt. I know exactly when it's enforceable and when it isn't, and I know when to ignore it and when not to ignore it. Cheeseburger says the train is approaching Bromsgrove and a 20-minute walk home in the rain. See everyone next week. Have a great weekend, Cheeseburger. Hope you had a good night out. Title for this live stream, The Deadbeat Podgerer. Thanks, Steve Nesbitt. And if, do keep those video titles coming, by the way. It is your job to name it. Was Alanis Morissette moronic, says John? No, she was gorgeous. Video title, Money for Nothing and Your Lube for Free. That's a good one. That is a good one. And Cheeseburger again says, if the debt's over 6 years old, it's probably statute barred. Doesn't stop them trying, but yeah, if you're... cashless, says Steve W., extracts wealth from the population. Merchant accounts charge a fee per transaction on the machines, meaning the cash paid is worth less to the retailer until all cash is back at the bank. Well. Now, I must admit, when I was dealing in cars, things have probably changed a bit now. But people used to always want a good deal for cash. And I would always say, I'll give you a better deal if you pay by card or bank transfer. Because, there's going to be bank transfers ideal. Yeah, there's going to be a merchant fee on the card transaction. But in those times, my bank used to charge me £5 per 1,000 to pay cash in. You could get that down if you banded it and bagged it yourself, but £5 per 1,000 to pay cash in. So things might have changed now, but certainly back in my day, cash wasn't necessarily. Sorry, I've got a really itchy spot on my back. Oh, cash wasn't necessarily the super cheap option. HP sauce for me. No mint sauce on bacon, says Barry Squatter. Quite right. Good man. From a glass bottle, obviously. Cheeseburg says, Steve, and those businesses don't pay cash handling charges to pay cash into their bank account. Oh, don't they? Oh, well, that just makes an answer to everything I just said, but I used to have to. They're better off and the process is quicker and easier. I have garlic bread in the freezer, says Simone. Oh, not that awful frozen. Oh, bless you, John. Not that awful frozen stuff, Simone. Please tell me it's not that. Those things that you buy in packs of two and they're frozen, and you do them in the oven yourself, and they're all nasty bread and hardly any garlic. They're awful. Don't do that. Make it. It's so easy to make garlic bread. Don't ever buy that awful. Oh God, it's dreadful. They're dreadful. I need to make some now. I need a bacon sandwich and I need some garlic bread. They're on the list for next week, and I'm going to start using the big oven and the grill. I'm going to start doing it. I am. Watch this space. I'm going to have bacon, Boaty bacon. Yeah, garlic bread. Don't buy it. Seriously, don't buy it. It's awful. Just get yourself whatever bread you like, a French loaf, ciabatta, whatever you want. Slice it. Get your French loaf or mini French loaf, half baguette, whatever. Slice it lengthways, right? Open it up. Then just finely dice some fresh garlic. The more, the better. Chuck it in some really good butter. Throw some fresh parsley in. Mix that up. Spread it lavishly on your on the insides of your sliced baguette. Clamp it back down. Wrap it in foil. And do remember, when you wrap something in foil, the shiny bit faces in. And then just oven it on a relatively low light, and then take the foil off and just bang the oven up for the last 3 or 4 minutes just to crisp up the outside, and have yourself some amazing garlic bread. And then you can cut it down as you will, and it'll be beautiful. A million times better than that awful frozen crap. Joe's got a body in his freezer. Blimey. Are you peckish, Joe? Yeah, you're quite correct in your 45 specs there, James. Well done. Over time, says Steve W., they pay more in fees per transaction than they did for banking cash. Oh, well. Cheeseburger, says Jimmy. Cliff Lazarenko, the darts player, lives in Bromsgrove. Does he really? Okay, there you go. I'm off to walk home, says Cheeseburger. See you next week. Okay. And James says that Joe would have loved his 45. I loved your 45, James. I very nearly bought it off Allegro, man. And I would have bought it off you if you'd offered it to me first. Hello, Mustard here. Oh, God. Hello, polonium. Polonium or plutonium? Polonium sluggers, I think. Now, I'm hoping that Captain Mustard has made a video on the new car that I own 1/3 of. Because it's one of those situations where Mustard and Boaty do cars have bought a car and Boaty hasn't seen it. Well, I haven't properly seen it. Now, this is the way that it works. I'm so sorry. Mustard sent a message on our joint chat with me and the unknown banker, and been offered this car for this amount of money. here are pictures, these are the details. And we looked, and both the unknown banker and I said, yep, go for that. So he did, he went for it, and the deal was done there and then. So I'm really hoping he's done a video of it that will go up, might be up already, or will go up in a few minutes when I bugger off, so that I can watch it and see what our new car is like. And I'm very excited about it, actually, very excited. So fingers crossed on that one. And good evening, Mustard. So has your little oven packed up, says Joe. Yes, it has. Are replacements expensive? Well, they're expensive enough. Probably for like, they're probably going to be about 100 quid, maybe a little bit more now. Or the one that I would really like would be the Sage, and they're about 300 quid. They are useful little things, and they save you a fortune in electricity. So I guess I'll, before I make a final decision, I will check out replacements. God, now I fancy a bacon sandwich. Oh, I'm really excited about a bacon sandwich now. Yes, with butter, says Mustard. Gotta love a BLT, says Joe. Skick says, hi, Mustard. Boat was just telling us one of his success stories. He was once an expert bicycle frame builder. I was, yeah. And again, that came about as of necessity. Now, I was talking about Mr. Ernesto Colnago. And I've told you this before. At one point, I was supplied with Colnago frames, part of the sponsorship deal, part of being paid to race a bicycle. And the frame that I was given was a 65 centimeter frame, which is an exceptionally large frame because I'm an exceptionally large man. And very sensibly, he built it with a 71-degree seat angle, 71.5 actually it was. Very sensible. It allows for long thighs, and I've got very long thighs. But obviously, a 71.5-degree seat angle makes the frame too relaxed for racing. So it needs a steeper head angle. And if I'd have built that, I would have built it with a 74-degree head. For some unknown reason, he built it with a 75-degree head, and it made the thing virtually unrideable. It was so incredibly twitchy. It was absolutely balmy. And I thought, this is just absolutely crazy. There's got to be a better way to build frames of the size that I need without making them either so twitchy that they're unrideable, or making them so farm gate laid backish that they're unraceable. So I put my thinking cap on and I started building my own frames, my dad and I. And initially, I'll tell you how we did the first one. We bought the tubing, which was Reynolds 653, I think at the time, or maybe Reynolds 531 Pro. We bought the lug sets from a company called Hayden in Birmingham, and we drew the frame. We designed the frame and we drew it on big technical paper, literally on the kitchen table. And then we built the frame on the kitchen table. We mitered the tubes, put the frame together with the ends, blah 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 blah, and we just tacked it together. And then we took it to Mike Cowell, I think it was, to actually weld it, and then to Mercian in Derby to paint the finished article. And it was just better than anything else that I'd ever ridden. So from then on, me and my dad, we designed and built our own frames. And I was a bit, he said, immodestly, I was a bit of a visionary. And all of the ideas that I had for building a frame of my size and making it a viable improvement were taken up by other people, the biggest people. So, for example, I won't bore you with this for too long, darlings, but you know what a bicycle frame looks like, right? Now, when it gets too big, it loses stiffness. The bottom bracket sways around, and a lot of the effort that you're putting into turning the pedals is moving it sideways rather than forwards. So the main triangle of a frame, top tube, down tube, and seat tube, that needs to be as small as possible. And nobody seemed to do that with the bigger frames. They just made them so big that they were ridiculous. They were so loose. And so I built small triangle frames with extended seat and head tube. I used curved top tube, I used curved seat tube, and every single one of my designs was replicated after the effect by the top professional teams. So Benesto, who used Pinarello. Benesto was a Spanish team. Member of that team was Miguel Indurain, who won the Tour de France 5 times on the bounce. They used Pinarello frames built in Italy. And for 4 of those 5 years, they used my design. Every single frame on that team, irrespective of the size, had a sloping top tube because that reduced the frontal area, made them more aerodynamic, and made them stiffer. Win, win, win. And Toshiba, one of the other biggest teams of the time, they had a rider called Remig Stumpf, who rode a frame about the same size as me. He was an epic sprinter. I never sprinted against him, and I would have loved to, because there was a year, I think it was 89, when he was untouchable. Untouchable. Every road sprint that he contested, he won. I reckon I'd have had him, and I never had the opportunity to sprint against him, sadly. But again, Toshiba, they took my design. On every single one of their team frames over 3 years, I think it was, they dropped the top tube and used an extended head and seat tube. Again, it just made it stiffer. It made it more effective. And it seemed so obvious to me, but nobody else was doing it. But there we are. Let's get back to bacon sandwiches, shall we? And I see we've gone past the midnight hour, darlings. It's time I left you all in peace to go to bed. But let's catch up with some comments. Oh, Mustard, bless you. Hello, Skick. I know that story. You know all of my stories. I've bored you. I mean, we've been friends for how long? 18 months now? You know my whole life story inside out. Air fryer, suggests Joe. It's a good idea, but as I say, everything that I've seen cooked in an air fryer looks shit. So you tell me, have you got an air fryer and can it actually cook decent food? I'm going to do a video on this tomorrow, because you might reply now and I'm about to bugger off. So you've made me think of prosciutto wrapped around asparagus and dippy eggs now, says Buddy Scratter. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, my goodness me. Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. Mr. Joseph Lloyd is with us, or was with us at this point. I'm probably about an hour and 3/4 behind on the comments at the moment. But good evening, Reverend Paddy Hughes, and a very good evening to you, Mr. Lloyd. How are you, sir? I hope you're well. It's very kind of you to join us. Go for another mini oven, says Mark Bad Books, because the main oven will cost a lot more in electric. Well, exactly. Oh, yay, Joseph is here, says Mustard. Ah, interesting. Mr. Lloyd says, I don't think that an air fryer would suit your needs, sir. And I do tend to agree, sir. It's not something that has ever appealed to me. I don't even really understand the concept per se. I wonder if air fryer is actually a bit of a misnomer. And I wonder if it's a way of doing something that I've actually been doing for years. Now, I've oven fried things for years. It's probably not the right way to say it, but for example, making homemade chips. Now, I love a homemade chip. Many of you will know this. And I flatter myself that my chips are rather excellent. Now, I do still have a chip pan somewhere lurking under there. And when I started making my own quadruple cooked chips, then I deep fried them using a chip pan. Although, to be honest, my process for making the perfect homemade chip is this. Peel the potatoes or don't peel them, leave the skin on, your choice, and soak them and rinse them and soak them and rinse them and soak them and rinse them. Get rid of as much starch as you possibly can, and then parboil them. Pat them dry, and then while they're still hot, you pop them in the oil at a relatively low heat. Fry them for however long, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever, and then shake them dry, drain them, and then quickly fry them again, but at a much higher heat. And then this was my pièce de résistance. So at the moment, they're triple cooked chips. All right. I went a step further, quadruple cooked chips. Having done the final deep fry at the higher heat, quickly shake them onto a linen cloth and wrap them and just allow them to steam for about 35 seconds in linen, and then serve them. And they will be the best chips ever. But I got fed up with the smell of the oil, the hassle of using a chip pan, cleaning it, so on and so on and so on. It even makes your cupboard dirty, darlings, because that oil gets everywhere, and you end up leaving a greasy mark inside your cupboard. And I don't know about you, but I can't cope with that. I can't cope with greasy marks inside my cupboard. So I came up with another way. I went through the same process: rinse, soak, rinse, soak, rinse, soak, blah, 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 parboil. But then instead of going down the old deep frying method, no. I did them in the oven. So spray them with a really good extra virgin olive oil. Season them with whatever you want to season them with, and then bang them in the oven on a low light. Shake them about, do whatever you want to do, and long and slow is the cooking method. Then take them out. Another spray of really good olive oil, little bit more seasoning if you fancy it. Whack the oven heat up, and then bang them back in to finish them off. And they are incredible. And I wonder if that's what an air fryer is. I wonder if it's just an oven and they call it an air fryer for whatever reason. And you just, instead of deep frying, you use a little bit of oil and you bake them, which is what I've been doing in a normal oven for years and years and years. And you don't need a posh bloody air fryer to do that, for God's sake. But maybe I'm getting all of that wrong. Oh, I have indeed frozen my wine. And I have a full-on authentic wine turd, as you can possibly see there. So we'll have to take up some emergency measures. And deploy this chap instead, which is not as chilled as I would like it to be, quite honestly. But if we can tease a little bit of, there you are, you see. Oh, there we are. And that will now be perfect. You see, darlings, as a very wise man once said, or lady, could have been a lady, necessitas et mater inventum. And those of you who went to a decent school will know that that is your actual Latin for necessity is the mother of invention. I'm a great believer in that. Now, where did I get to? I agree with Bad Book, says Joe. Firing up the big oven for just you is going to soon add up in electric charges. Right. I'm not keen on air fryers, says Barry. Um, oh, we'll whisk through those because that's James chatting to Joe about ideal cars. Barry has to toddle off, but Barry, have a fabulous weekend. I'll catch up with you on Monday evening, sir, and thank you for joining us. See you all next week, and you will indeed. Proper butter, says Mustard, not that spreadable stuff. But yeah, absolutely, a bit of French salted butter for choice, or Welsh butter. Welsh butter is fabulous. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, go mad, darlings. Live on the wild side. If you want spreadable butter, get proper butter. Don't put it in the fridge. Buy a butter dish. Now, here we go. Oh, it's too late to do it on this one. But remind me and we'll do it on Monday. You remember when I made the whole of as much of Great Britain as I possibly could have a toast rack. And we went mad on the toast rack thing. Well, the next thing is going to be a butter dish. You should all have a butter dish. A proper butter dish. None of this plastic spreadable crap that you take from your fridge. You have a butter dish. It lives on your worktop. You put your proper butter in it. And then when you've got a nice butter dish, you can actually put it on the dining table when you have your breakfast and so on. If you and you can just make it easy. Just have a butter dish rather than having individual butter pats. Now, I must admit, when I serve breakfast, I have individual butter pats, Denby Homestead, 1960s, 1970s. And I've got a butter curler, and I like to serve curled butter in individual butter pats. But I've also got a proper butter dish. And that's what you should do. Mustard is quite right. None of this spreadable butter nonsense. Proper butter. Don't put it in the fridge. Have yourselves a butter dish and live like royalty. Live a better life than you knew was possible. And have the best bacon sandwich known to man. Mustard. No, he's 2 videos behind. I'm not going to get to see. Oh, what a shame. I'm not going to get to see the new car that I own 1/3 of. Air fryers are similar prices, says Joe. Maybe it's worth saving up for a replacement, especially if it lasted all these years. I would love the Sage mini oven. It looks a fantastic bit of kit. If I ever became rich and successful, then I'd have the matching pair. I'd have the Sage mini oven to the left, and I'd have the Sage microwave to the right, and I would love those. I occasionally browse online covetously and look at them and think, God, I'd love to own you. I mean, I do similar things with Shania Twain and Alanis Morissette, of course. But there we are. The lovely Mr. Lloyd has been editing since Friday, having problems finishing off the very last part of this slightly shambolic shuffle. And then he opens a bracket, does Mr. Lloyd, and says, and this is the absolute killer, part 22. And then the parentheses are duly closed. A 22-part shambolic shuffle around it. I mean, you have to admire the man. You have to take off your hat, either in a realistic sense or metaphorically, because that man, when it comes to shuffling, my goodness me, I mean, he has made it a true art form. And talk about dedication. Now, I genuinely believe this. I don't know if they still hand out Blue Peter badges, but if they do, then Mr. Lloyd deserves one for his shambolic shuffling efforts. I mean, they are remarkable. And you can possibly imagine what goes into creating a 22-part shambolic shuffle. But when you actually see it in real, I mean, the man is relentless and he is remorseless. Um, Now, at a couple of car shows, I've actually witnessed the good Mr. Lloyd in action, and he is terrifyingly relentless. Nothing and no one gets in his way. I mean, if a group of overtly violent muggers were to stand in his way and demand his wallet, he would just plow them down, probably without even noticing, and certainly without interrupting his commentary on the hearing aid beige Austin Allegro that he was focusing on when these muggers, quite frankly, chose the wrong target. You were barking up the wrong tree there, muggers. Mr. Lloyd is made of sterner stuff than you are accustomed to. And quite frankly, I hope he hurt you when he trampled all over you, having just ploughed you to the ground as he was heading towards that Allegro with a fevered glint in his eye and part 21 coming up. Oh, God. Oh, dear me. Captain Mustard has just sent me 99p. How incredibly kind of you. My dear friend Captain Mustard has sent me a 99p super sticker. Gosh, how lovely. I will I will buy something nice with that. Thank you very much indeed. Dear. And now I need to whiz through these last comments, and I need to let you good people go, don't I? I've kept you here far too long. I had a bacon and French stick at 10 p.m. It was lovely, says Jimmy. Joseph says it's something to do with my ancient editing software. I'd forgotten that it doesn't like rendering videos over 45 minutes long. Well, yeah, I feel that pain. Don't forget to hit like, says Jimmy Quinn very kindly. I've just realised that we're a similar age, says Joe. I was born in 2001 too, and that can't be aimed at me because I was definitely not born in 2001. Boaty, says Mustard. Nobody is interested in bicycle frames. Well, you're wrong there, Mustard. Many people are interested in bicycle frames, but I accept that none of them are watching this live stream, so I shouldn't have talked about them. Glad you said it, Mustard, says Skick. Yes, well. Paul, it's the 99p to tell him to shut up about bike frames. Oh, hello, Trace is here, the Greenwood. Oh, bless you, and you've got flu. Oh. I had the best rover, says Jimmy Quinn. And I've got a frog in my throat. I had the best rover, a P5B coupe, beautiful cars. I agree, Jimmy. I had one too, and I loved it, and I would love another one. Simone says, every Wednesday and Sunday, I have a well-done bacon roll in the morning at my voluntary job. Very good bacon. No, I don't recommend an air dryer. Air fryer. Sorry, I've got I've got a raving frog in my throat. I don't recommend an air fryer, says Joe. Ours went in the bin. Oven is best. And Mr. Lloyd is still here. Well, thank you, sir. I admire your fortitude in clinging on to the wreckage until the very end. Oh, hello. Cheeseburger's back again. Made it home from the delayed train in the rain. Oh, a halogen oven is better, says Joe. Gosh, I didn't know such a thing. Oh, Trace. Trace feels like she's been trampled by Tyson Fury, but the fever's gone now and she just needs some sleep and stuff. Homemade chips are so good, says Simone. I agree. Oh, God. Cheeseburger's still on about the pottering lube. I might make Cheeseburger my official Mr. Boaty's pottering lube agent because he's doing a splendid job. Actually, a better job than I could. Complicated, Chip, says Mustard. Complicated is good. Cheeseburger has met Tyson Fury, and he is a big, I can't say the word, but he is a very large man, a very large man indeed, really quite imposing. Yes, kind of. Oh, good night, everyone, says Mr. Lloyd, and good night, Seth. Thank you very much for joining us. Very much appreciated. And oh God, well, dear me, Boaty, do you like potato scallops? Depends what you mean by potato scallops. When I was a kid, scallops in the chip shop were like potato in batter, and they were lovely. But my God, they filled you up. If you had one of those, you couldn't eat anything else. I don't have a butter dish yet, says Trace, but my butter, real butter, does not live in the fridge. Well done. Well done, you. Butter should have just one or two ingredients, not 20 like spread. Diddly do. Pot noodle sandwich should be a delicacy. And Joe says pot noodle sandwich is elite. Oh God, I'm hungry now. And tonight I'm going to be having, I'm going to be making chow mein, quite a special chow mein. I'm really looking forward to it. Joseph is a machine, says Mustard. He really is. They do hand out Blue Peter badges, says Cheeseburger. You can get into Alton Towers for free with one. Oh, and Jimmy Quinn has also sent me 99p. Yay, I'm rich. Thank you so much. Oh, dear, dear, dear. And Simone sadly does not own a butter dish. Bloody hell. Poor old Simone, you didn't have a toast rack, you haven't got a butter dish. Darlings, it is 22 minutes past midnight. Thank you so much for bearing with, even though I talked about bicycle frames, which apparently is a big no-no, but hey ho, there you go. You pays your money and you take your choice. Thank you to Jimmy and Mustard for their 99 pence super chats. Very much appreciated. Every little helps, as the old lady said when she piddled in the sea. I am off now to make my supper, and as I say, it's going to be chow mein it's going to be a really good chow mein, really good. It's going to be a chu chow chili tikka chow mein with peppers and onion and it's going to be amazing. You wait until you see it; you'll be so jealous. Night again, everyone, says. Oh, Joe, you haven't got a butter dish either. You poor son. You poor people. You all need butter dishes. Right, I'm going to go on one. Monday night, I'm going on one about butter dishes. I'm going to get a butter dish into all of your lives. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for your support throughout the week in every way, the live streams, the videos, everything. I'm just so grateful to you all, but you all know that. I won't bang on about it and bore you. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I'm not going to be about much over the weekend. I have plans. Mr. Boaty's pottering lube. You know it makes sense. But there will be videos coming out, and I will catch up with you live again on Monday night. And it's going to be a bit of a different Monday. It's not going to be a yard day on Monday because dear old Mustard is off to a family wedding down in Dorset. So I hope he has a fabulous road trip down there. If all goes according to plan, I'm going to be hanging about here during the day. I'm going to be getting, hopefully I'll be having somebody coming out to fit tyres to stick butt and sorting all of that side of things out. I'll have something nice to eat. And then Monday night, darlings, I'm going to the casino. I might even do a live. Probably I might not get away with doing it in the casino. I could probably do it in the smoking shelter, and I can do a bit in the car park. But yeah, Monday night is going to be casino night, darlings. It's too long since I've been there. And there we are. There we are. I will catch you on the daily diaries. I'm always around on Facebook, of course. And I hope you have a great weekend. I really do. Thank you again so much. Much love to you all. Have a safe and peaceful night tonight. Take great care of yourselves. Have the best weekend that you can. I'll see you on Monday. All right. Good night, darlings. Bye bye.